Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to do it
Hello.
perfect today. I mean, sorry.
Why would you do that? I just said, and then you're already.
Believe is backward.
Number one, believe is not backwards. Number two,
It's backwards on mine. Is it
it
forward
is
for
not
you?
backwards on mine. It is straightforward.
Oh.
Also, again, you're talking about something that people listening cannot hear. He has a Ted Lasso cup that says believe on it, which he's saying is backward, but it's not backwards. It's completely the right way. Also, I can't get through even a syllable today. I said,
Welcome to the Mr. Pick Me and what's her name again? The Man Hater
Jesus!
Radio Talk Show Podcast Hour. Brought to you by Ted Lasso.
And visual pranks that don't make sense.
Our audio podcast brought to you by Visual Pranks.
The stuff you can't see.
Website on screen right now.
Welcome, friend. That was an unhinged start, but that's okay because we have an unhinged topic today. Chesko, what will we be talking about?
Why women are evil and men are the best. Theme song.
You want bad advice? Man, I'll give it out gladly. I got some good advice for you. No, you don't. Like, no, you don't. I got some good advice for you. No, you don't. Like, no, you don't. Shit.
I don't think we introduced ourselves either. Nobody knows who we are.
Nobody knows who, no one listening has any clue.
Our podcast is so popular that people are just like, I'm going to tune into this random show.
I don't care who they are.
Who are these nobodies?
We're Mr. Pick Me and the Manhater. That's who we are.
I'm the Man Hater. My name is Regan, for those of you just tuning in for the first time.
And I am Mr. Pick Me, aka Chesko. I'm a professor and not a doctor. That is a Patreon joke. Speaking of jokes that don't make sense.
Visual pranks and Patreon inside jokes. That's all our show's going to be. Wow. We lose every listener.
Well, women are evil, apparently, so.
And men are the best.
Right. So, do you want to give us a little context?
There was a little interview show. I think as far as I know, this is an account. I just started watching this account. It started showing up in my FYP. So I don't know if they're new or not. They're called the show's called Manthropology.
I see them all the time.
Okay. So they just started popping up in and so she is interviewing this guy that, hold on, wait, what's his name? He says his name at the end.
I'm Timmy Bounceback, and I'm fucking back.
I'm Timmy Bounceback. So she goes and interviews Timmy Bounceback, who is kind of like a Temu version of like Guy Fieri.
Temu.
It's Temu.
It's Temu.
They tried to get me to do an ad for them, and they were very specific that it's
well, excuse the F out of me.
I chose not to because it could have been, I don't even know if it was actually them that was contacting me or if it was a scam. But in the email,
they're like, you pay us.
Yeah, it specifically phonetically had it as Temu. So
okay, well, you know what? I'm wrong.
I could be wrong too. I'm going off of an email that could have been a scam. So anyway, so Temu Guy Fieri is at a bar and he's feeling good about himself.
In the daytime, by the way.
In the daytime. This is daytime drinking with Timmy Bounceback, and I'm fucking back, is what he says. I don't know where he was.
Where's he back from? We don't know. The funny thing is, like, she is so like straightforward and unapologetic. Like, so many of her interviews start where she just goes, "So why are men the way they are?" Like, why are men like this? And then she just hands the mic to them. The guys are like, "What?"
And I will say this video, before we even watch it, has disproved something I've said on this show before, where I said that I think women like confidence. This is the wrong kind of confidence. Like, this guy's very proud of himself, and I don't think anybody finds this attractive.
I mean, I think it's a point that you're giving yourself your own nickname and like a little catchphrase, like, "Hey, we're bouncing back."
Like he signed his little rant. Like who signs their you know, like how on like boomers will sign their like Facebook
Text
comments,
messages too.
their text messages, and be like, love
Grandpa.
grandma, you know. He's doing that, but with, like verbally. I've never seen that happen before. A verbal signature.
It's not a verbal prank, it's a verbal signature.
I gotta do that from now on. If I say
Chesko.
something that sounds like Chesko, and I'm fucking back, baby.
I'm crying. I'll give you $5 if you do a normal video and just go, and I'm Chesko, and I'm fucking back, baby.
It's gonna happen.
But you can't address it. You can't talk about it.
No, I'm gonna do it in every video. In fact, for this week, this is a podcast exclusive. I'm going to end every video with that. I'm serious. Even my political ones, ones that are like about very serious issues. I'm like, and that is why they need your donation now. I'm just going. I'm fucking back, baby.
It's so like I don't know any better way of saying I am unhinged than ending that way, because it's like main character syndrome. Because like who back from what? Who are you? What does this mean?
Do you think we know what happened to you before this moment? You didn't exist before this moment. This was when you came into creation in my life. Yeah, this is no. And the thing is, the way to say it, and like I said, we haven't even got to the video yet. But I think it's important to preface it that he believes that what he says right here is fucking groundbreaking. Like,
Mic drop.
Spit the best poem of his life right here. And he's like, I gotta sign this before someone else takes credit for my work. I'm Timmy Bounceback, baby.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I am doing. So I've covered this guy, the guy who, I don't want to say his name, but he's the guy who yelled at the girl because she had earbuds in.
Okay, I haven't seen this one.
Yes, you have. He's running shirtless and he does this whole rant because he's like, this girl had her phone in landscape mode and her earbuds in. You haven't seen this?
I haven't seen this one.
I've
no.
made 4 videos on it.
I don't watch your channel.
Oh. I'm gone, baby. Click.
I don't think we're mutuals even.
I don't know you. Well, so he's this life coach who like thinks everything he says is a literal mic drop moment, okay? And I'm dropping a full YouTube video on him because he dropped a 20-minute YouTube video saying everyone on TikTok hates me. And he says the crazy shit in this video. But one of the things he does, it's at the end of the video and he's like outside, like the trees are behind him. And he's like, if nobody's going to seek to understand me, then why would I seek to understand them? And then it cuts like in the middle of the sentence to him and his friend editing his own video. And after that groundbreaking sentence, which is just like, what? Duh. Like, duh. They're like, oh shit, son. And then he goes, I didn't even remember saying that. And they're just like applauding their own video. Like he's applauding himself. And that's, I think, what's going on in these guys' heads.
Absolutely.
Like, inside out, okay, there's a little group of men in their heads at the desk going, oh shit, everything they say.
It's the exact opposite of what I've said happens when I'm looking for quotes for our podcast. I'll look through the transcript. I'll be combing through it and I'll be like, oh man, that was great. Who said? No, it was Regan. Did I say that? I couldn't have said. And then when it is me, sometimes I'm like, that couldn't be right. This must have been transcribed wrong. Not that I don't say anything worthy of clipping for a quote.
Oh, you mean like last episode where you talked about farting your pants off?
Wait, did I what? I did what? I don't even remember this. What happened?
You talked about farting your pants off.
What? What are you talking? I need to listen to our episodes before I post them. Was I making a joke?
I hope so.
I hope so.
No, because I can't breathe. No, because the guy made the joke about the girl's shorts being so tight that she farts her pants. You have to fart to get them off. And then you made this weird joke about you farting to get your pants off. And then I asked you why you couldn't just take your pants off. And then you said, I have food in my hands.
I'm Timmy Bounceback and I'm fucking back, baby. Oh.
The horror in your eyes of me telling you the thing that you said.
the jokes that come out of my mind. I told you, I literally on this days, even on TikTok, I'll watch these videos and be like, when did I say this? I don't remember this video. How is this on my page? Who is this man with my face and voice saying these words?
Chesko, you need to go to a doctor. Okay, anyways,
let's hear from the poet Timmy Bounceback, from the prophet, the book of Bounceback, verse Timothy.
The whole book is Timothy. It's one verse.
Book of Timothy.
Oh God, I can't. I'm literally weeping. Okay.
I think we should just end the episode here. That was a good one.
That was a good 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Okay, let's do this.
All right.
I want to talk about men.
We're awesome
Why are you awesome?
because we're simple. If you put 5 men in a room of every different religion, ethnicity, and age, the first thing that most men would do is try to find common ground.
Okay.
What's your favorite food? What sports team do you watch? That's men. You put 5 women in a room of all ethnicities and all religions and all ages. And what they do is look at who the weakest one is and the strongest one is, and they pair up. And they go, do you believe her hair? Do you believe that fucking purse she's wearing? Look at those heels. That bitch had surgery. We look for common ground. Women look to divide and conquer and kill. You guys will kill and destroy everything and anything that's good. No offense, but these are fucking facts. I'm Timmy Bounceback, and I'm fucking back.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Can I, before we get to the full context of the video, that you women will kill and destroy everything. No offense. No offense.
None taken.
But you will fucking kill and destroy everything.
Like fucking where, bro?
Yeah, don't take any offense to that though.
I know. I'm not trying to be insulting. But you'll kill everything.
Fucking monsters.
You're destructors.
Everything you do is about destroying other people. I get so angry thinking about women.
Hey, are we starting to maybe think that Bounceback, what was it, Timmy?
Timmy Bounceback.
That Timmy Bounceback is bouncing back from having his heart broken by a lady? That's that. Because the heat is hot.
I don't think he was broken hard enough. I think he needed to be far more broken to be this confident.
I'm shocked by this because he's not even saying women are mean. He's saying women are destroy and kill everything. Bro,
everything beautiful in this world has been destroyed by women.
Who fought the wars?
Mm-hmm.
Who ordered the wars to be fought?
Yeah, that's the one key detail they tend to, because this is not a new talking point necessarily, right? But the one key detail that they always leave out is that because most societies are patriarchies, are under a patriarchal structure, right? Then and most societies have delved into horrific wars and tragedies, right? But it's still the fault of women that all of these wars and all these deaths and all this horrible things have been done. It's men will find common ground. That's what we do.
The ground that they're going to claim for themselves.
Yes.
This is my ground.
That never happens where men will fight each other over disagreements.
Have you ever seen 5 best guy friends? All they do is shit talk each other and bring each other down and then try to out macho each other.
Right. To be fair, you and I do talk a lot of shit to each other too. And
that's fine. And I'm fine with that.
True.
All ages and ethnicities, and they'll talk about sports. Okay, so of all the topics in the world, of all, first of all, how are you going to get 5? Do you think there's 5 ethnicities?
Of the 5 ethnicities, the ethnic region of 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. If you bring one from each region together, from the Fire Nation, the Earth Nation, the Air Nation, and the Water Nation together,
And then they'll talk about the sports that all of them collectively
All
like
of
to watch.
them.
Because that's what men like, is sports.
Yes.
They'll just look for common ground. There haven't been like huge wars fought over people in the sky.
Yeah, and it's also it's because when we think of like worst case scenarios, we think of men disagreeing and then calmly sitting down and talking it out, and it's women that we think of who
Yes.
will get into fist fights and throw things and destroy property, and that's
Yeah.
the, you know, when we're thinking of stereotypes, that's of course what I think of when I am like, when I was in college and I was at a bar, it was always the women that were getting into fights, right? Over
Hey,
the men,
Cheryl!
right?
I'm sick of your shit! And then they punch a hole in the wall.
Mm-hmm.
These women,
Or these women need to get their anger under control.
I know, it's like their only emotion. That's what I think is crazy.
I think it's because women have not admitted that that anger is an emotion, right? Unlike our men who understand the levels of empathy that goes into being in a civilized society.
And truly, you know, women are the destroyers of things, and men bring life into the world.
It's what they do.
We all know that about them.
Why do you think they call it their seed?
Ew! Sick! Don't ever say
Cross
seed.
the line. Cross the line. I'm sorry.
You crossed it.
I'm sorry.
You're being like a woman right now. You're being aggressive.
I know. I am. I'm so sorry. It's my feminine energy from being around you has
I'm actually very aggressive as a human being. I've been talked to about it.
There was another video that I thought about bringing up for this video. We'll get back to this, but it talks about this one guy thought he had a great point,
Classic.
but he's talking about, like, you know, when you talk about toxic masculinity, but you ask them, okay, then what's positive masculinity? And then when they list things out, they're like, oh, what, women can't do those things? I'm like, that's the fucking point, dude. Is that we have these stereotypes of what more masculine energy and feminine energy is. And it's because in a patriarchal, misogynist society, we have decided these good traits of confidence, of leadership, of healthy competition, of all these kind of things those are masculine traits. And then we decide that all these the traits that are
Softness,
softness and submissiveness, those
That's
are feminine
women.
traits. Those are all women traits, right? And that's the fucking point, dude. So yeah, there is, when we talk about healthy masculinity, we're not saying that women can't have these traits, right? We're saying that that toxic masculinity is when you take those traits that our society has deemed to be masculine traits to an extreme level, to an unhealthy level, where it becomes performative for other men, where you are hurting yourself and your family and those you love for the sake of impressing the other men that are also taking those healthy traits for anybody to have to an unhealthy level.
I mean, can they just get their shit straight at this point? Honestly, because I am tired. It's like that guy. You guys decided that, like, collectively men decided, because they were the ones that held the pen, that this is masculine and this is feminine, and here's your two boxes and you gotta stay in them. And now for men to be like, well, so you're saying that women can't do that? Like, you said that. No, no. The patriarchy said that. We don't like the boxes. We want out of the boxes. We don't want you in the boxes either, to be quite honest. The boxes aren't good for anybody. And then you have this Timmy Clapback. What was his
Timmy
name?
Bounceback, baby.
Timmy Bounceback.
I kind of want to make merch with Timmy Bounceback on it. That's all it says.
He'd sue us for sure. You're like, I'm the one that's bouncing, not you. But then you have Timmy Bounceback, who after they've done nothing but try and tell us we are life bringers, that's what we should be. We should be soft and gentle, and, you know, we should be motherly, and we're nurturing, and that's what we do. Now we're the destroyers of everything. What are you guys doing then? What does that mean? To your point, it's like, is that the narrative that goes on, that women are destroyers, that women like to kill?
I think it comes back down to the same conversation of, like, so many of these men just don't like women, like, at all. I don't get it. Like, I don't fucking get it.
But sleep with me.
But yeah, but it's like, I'm straight because I like women. Right?
I'm a lesbian because I
you
like women.
That's what I'm saying. Like, for me, my sexuality is intertwined with that. Like that's not a it's not like it's not an accident. Like I'm like, I fucking hate women, but sexually, I that's the one
I love
thing.
it.
It's like that, like no, there's those are two things that are combined. I don't
They
understand how
should
you
be.
they should be, right? That's the whole point,
How
is
can
like
they not be?
like physical attraction is a component of attraction. It's not the sole thing that exists. If I don't like you, like and it's here a good example of this. And this is a very weird example, but I promise it'll make sense. So when I was younger, I grew up Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I had a crush on Ashley. I was younger. I didn't think Hillary was that attractive because I didn't her personality was not what I was into, right?
Sure.
Like the character. But then she was in the movie Major Pain. This is such a niche conversation, but she was like this. She was just like really. I think she was like a social worker or a doctor or something. She was somebody, but she was like this intelligent, like really confident, like woman. And I from that day forward, I was like such a huge crush on her,
I'm in love with her.
right? But it was like that's the point because the personality of the person does matter, and it's
Yes.
silly because this is a celebrity and playing a character. Both of those are characters. I have no idea who she is in real life.
Yeah.
Shout out to whoever the actress is that played Hillary on Fresh Prince.
You can't shout out someone and not even know their name.
Hold on, okay, wait, pause right here. I have to look it up real quick.
Shout out to that person whose name I don't even know.
Shout out to Karen Parsons. Hopefully, you haven't been in anything horrific and done anything horrible in the 30 years since I've thought of your name. But my point is not about her as a person. My
Yes.
point is even as like this was a realization I had as like a 12-year-old that I was like, oh wow, personality matters. And I remember
Thank
thinking,
goodness.
yeah, I remember literally having thoughts about this as a as a tween, thinking I was like, wow, that's amazing how like she looks different to me based on this idea who she is as a person. And that was as like as a child this made sense to me. And yet there's these guys that are out there that are fucking hate all women, that don't want to be friends with women, that don't understand how anybody could want to spend their time with women. There was a video I made responding to fucking Dave Portnoy from Barstool, that asshole. Have you
Oh
seen him before?
no,
Yeah.
he's terrible.
Where he was talking about like I don't know a single dude that would want to hang out with a woman over a man. I don't understand why any guy would want. So it's this whole it's the narrative in this whole manosphere thing of they don't understand it, and I don't get how you could be attracted to a woman and hate her. That doesn't make any sense to me. The logical aspect doesn't click in my brain how this is a narrative. And it's because I don't even think they are attracted to women. They're attracted to impressing other men. That's their attraction, is finding someone that they can show off to other men, finding a partner that they can be like, look, guys, do you like me now? Do you think I'm cool now? Does this make you impressive? Because they're sexually attracted to being impressive.
Ugh.
I'm Timmy Bounceback, baby, and I'm out.
In the video, he is like his friends are behind him laughing, and I'm sure that was emboldening him.
Mm-hmm. He's like, look at this, guys. Watch me tell this girl off. I'm going to say it to her face how women are evil. And he's going to go back and give him a high five. They're going to buy him a beer.
They're gonna buy him, yeah, they're gonna buy him a really stale beer.
Yeah.
That's the thing though, like, I know I just talked about it, but the narrative is so confusing. Like, they're not sticking to their own narrative. They're not on brand. As men collectively are confused to their own messaging, because we have this loneliness epidemic that's being pushed, this idea of it. You have, people who are in academia pushing it, and you would think men would be like, sweet, like, perfect. This is a narrative we can get behind because it makes us more of the victims. It makes us sympathetic.
Mm-hmm.
And then these dudes are like, we don't need you. We don't want you. We're better off without you. We're leaving you, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I thought y'all were really lonely. Which is it?
It is that's the fun. And I say funny because none of this is funny. Like, we're laughing at it because that's what we do. But like it's the playing, what you're seeing play out is the exact scenario of a guy hitting on a woman and then her not being interested and then him immediately flipping to like, well, you were ugly anyways. I didn't like you anyways.
Bitch. It's always bitch.
Yeah, I don't want to say it.
I'm throwing it in there.
But that's exactly what it is, right? It's this complete shift, because it was not, once again, they were attracted, they did want to like her, but they were more attracted to the dominance. And the second she rejected the ability for them to get what they wanted, then she becomes bad and terrible. And so you're seeing this play out where this quote unquote male loneliness epidemic, of these guys, like, well, it's women are gonna be sorry. It's them. We don't even like them anyways. Look at how they're evil they are. Look how bad they are. This is why we're lonely, because women
Destroyers.
have become destroyers of everything good in this world. We were the good things that were being destroyed.
I'll tell you what, there is nothing like a cis white man making himself the victim of the world. It's created for you. It's literally set up for you to succeed.
Yeah, I think one of the lessons I'd like to really, that needs to be pushed to men, but they're like, especially young men, and it's that there's more to there's multiple ways to have a fulfilling relationship with another person that is not sexual in nature, right? That you can have actual fulfilling, both with men and women, right? And they can understand that to an extent with men, because they've been taught that, they've been shown that. But we have this such a huge narrative in our society that it's not possible, in large part due to misogyny, treating women's bodies as property, as sexual objects, where the idea that you cannot have a relationship with another human being that in theory could be an intimate relationship, a physically intimate relationship, that exists outside of that physical intimacy, that is simply as a emotional intimacy, that is fulfilling outside of any sort of a physical interaction. And they need, it makes perfect sense to me. I don't know if it's my like autistic nature of like, that logically makes sense. There's people you can be friends with that are not categorized in that way. But it's such a hard concept to grasp, that there is more to relationships than just that. And when you find the person you can have that and the other side with, that's amazing. That's when you get, that's why I married my wife, right? When there is the huge, there's multiple layers of that intimacy that exists there. But you can have friendships outside of physical intimacy that are completely platonic and fulfilling, and that's okay to have, right? You don't need to then move it into something else. And so they end up hating women to keep themselves from falling into whatever trap they've decided is going to be because the friend zone is the worst thing in the world, right?
I think it's also recognizing, though, that these men don't see women as people, and that they aren't actually relationships. Because I think a lot of these men, what they see from women are that these women are objects, and their purpose is sexual in nature. Like, you are to be used for sexual pleasure, and that's what you're made for. And you doing anything besides that is essentially you malfunctioning in some way, right? When they hit on women, and then women don't just immediately give them sex or give them a reaction that makes them think they can get sex, they're like, oh, you're a stupid object. Why aren't you working? Because that's the way that they see them. They don't see the potential for that deeper relationship, because they don't see them as a person who you can have a relationship with. You can't have a relationship with your microwave. You just wanted to cook your food. And I think that's how they see women, these type of guys. It's like they may be communicating with them, but that's just in order to get what they want. That is the means to an end. They're not building a relationship. They're buying time and wasting time. They're like biding their time until they can get something sexual. And that's the same reason why the friend zone is what it is. It's because these men are building friendships. What they're doing is laying the groundwork in order to get a sexual relationship. And so when that doesn't work out, they're pissed because they've wasted all that time, because the friendship was never the point, and the friendship sadly holds no value to them. There is no way to believe in the friend zone if you don't have the perspective that friendship with women is meaningless. And that's the scary thing, because it's not just that they, don't know how to form like intimate relationships. It's beyond that. They don't think women are people. They don't see them as someone you could form a relationship with. And so it's like we got to get them to even see women as more than just sexual gratification tools. And that's really sad. But I think that's the reality of where these men are at. And I also think, I'm ranting now, but I also think there's an issue with fragility. They're so fragile that whatever, even the perception of rejection makes them want to hate women forever. And I don't know who it was, but it was on my feed talking about like Hassan, what's his name? Piker? Is that his name?
Yeah, Hassan Piker, yeah.
Okay, well, he did a video basically that was like the biggest issue with the left is that we are judgmental of men, or we make them feel inferior, or whatever it is. And there was an interesting conversation going on about the idea of, so you feel a little bit of pushback and then you immediately will not listen to any of the points, like you will not be a part of the group, you don't care about all of the issues, it's simply, do you make me feel bad about me, and if you do, then I'm rejecting you. Like, you would rather go to the right because you feel more accepted and you feel more valued and you feel less critiqued. And that's the crazy idea here, is it's like they are so sensitive to pushback or any form of criticism that they would rather devalue, degrade, and just not care about anybody outside of their group. If it means they can feel good about themselves, if it means they don't have to have any introspection. And that's wild.
And that's the issue is, and we talk like when I was at the conference, I think I talked about this a little bit last week too, Trending Up conference. They talked about how these conservative and right wing influencers are literally grooming young men in this regard, and that's one of the ways exactly what you're talking about. Because before you're old enough, when your brain is undeveloped and you're still are very egocentric by design, right? You don't fully grow out of egocentrism. I mean, you don't. Some people never grow out of it, but like from a biological standpoint, you don't fully grow out of it till you're like in your mid-20s, right? And so they're going after these young men who are very egocentric still, more so, right? Because of the privilege that men have in our society. And they're saying, hey, look over here. You don't have to feel bad about anything of our society. You get all these privileges. This patriarchy over here. We're like doubling down on this. Look at this great thing. I know you don't like a lot of this other stuff, but this is really powerful. Look at this thing that's going to benefit you specifically. And you see these young guys who are still like in this self-serving phase of their life, and this, like I said, more self-serving phase, like biologically self-serving phase, that are drawn into that. And then they start hearing all these other things, and before it's too late, they've bought into all of these other ideologies and philosophies and beliefs about the world that they didn't believe in beforehand, but it was tied to this big benefit of this big promise. And then when they eventually get old enough to enter the real world, and they find out that the promise that they were promised, that the gift they were promised, was actually a lie, they're so far in that they don't know how to turn back. Right. And so they just get angry and they get into this quote unquote male loneliness epidemic when they have the key.
And they have the key. But of course, a lot of this is white men we're talking about.
Right.
And
right.
I think, I've said this many times, but it's this idea of men, in order to better themselves and better the world for everyone as a whole, have to give up this false power, because at the end of the day, it's not real. The system is set up to make it feel like there is power, but not inherently do they have any more power than anybody else. It's a system of power to give them power. And so they have to be willing to give up that little bit of power in order to benefit everybody. And so many men aren't willing to do it. They would rather be in a system that is crushing them, where they are miserable, but they can say, well, at least I'm better than women. At least I'm better than, gay people.
They're seeking that power that, especially, and this is not to get too on my anti-capitalism high horse here, but like this capitalist ideology where none of us like that are not super wealthy have really any power, right? And for the most part, we all have little bits of power of our own life, and that's what they're seeking to exploit. Is like, look, here's a scapegoat. Here's someone for you to feel more power over, right here. You're spot on.
They don't perceive their privilege, which is so crazy, because that's a privilege in itself. Like, besides cis white men, you know, most people have absolutely, like women, people of color, any like people with disabilities, like basically just not white cis men, have all at some point had somebody critique them, have had somebody give them pushback, have had their rights taken away, have been held back in some way. Like they didn't get a choice in that. They have all felt that in one way or another, and they don't get to just, you know, clean their hands of that and go jump in another different group because they don't want to deal. They have to deal. They have to deal. And those are people who are being oppressed for literally existing, whereas men are just being asked to be held to the standard of everybody else, to have equality, to not be, you know, oppressive, to not be sexist, to not, you know, be abusive towards women. Like we are asking them not to do harm. And that is such a big ask to them. They don't even want to think about it rather than taking, you know, the empathetic approach. And like I've said this, I just did a video on this, but there's so much where men say they're logical when really what they are is apathetic. They don't care. They don't care about the other people. They can talk about, you know, abortion rights all day and think it's a fun intellectual debate because it's not about their bodies. It's not about their rights. And, you know, you could say the same thing for so many political conversations that men can have and not have any emotions towards because they don't care about the people it's affecting.
Right. Because at the end of the day, even if they lose, well, my life's not really that changed.
Right. And it's easy for them to have those debates because they have no skin in the game. And they'll be like, oh, they're so emotional. It's like, yeah, because they care, because it affects them. They care about other people. They have empathy, even if it's not them specifically being affected. And it's scary to me. It's scary to think about all the young men who are going in this pipeline who just don't have, like, whatever empathy that they have innately, they have shut off. And are enjoy it, you know, and enjoy the way that they treat other people and enjoy whatever perceived power they think they have.
In turn, they're robbing themselves of actually having fulfilling relationships. They're robbing themselves of actually having what is possible for anyone if you're willing to just like let yourself give up the idea that you deserve all of these sorts of things, right? There was somebody that wrote a post. I think it was on Threads. It might have been a video. Everything jumbles together in my head. But the old promise was men will go to work and have a boss shit on them and just be like really horrible to them. But then they get home and they get to have this paradise, right? They get to have someone serve them. And now that we live in a society also where, you know, I think it was something like 70% of households are both people are working, and both people are coming home, and they're not getting this promise that was sent, this patriarchal promise that was given to their own fathers and their grandfathers. They're getting angry about it without acknowledging the fact that this was always a horrible system that was always bound to fail, and it was only able to be sustained through the subjugation and torture of other people. And I say torture meaningfully, literally. There was a stat I shared with you, I think it was pre-show, I don't know, we talked about it a second ago, that showed that when no-fault divorce was introduced to states, that female suicide dropped by 20%, and you can see it clearly in that moment. So anyone claiming that those were the good days, that was the happy days, no, that would have been happy for many men that felt that they were in that situation. But when you have that's a huge, it's not like a couple points drop off, right? And that's including only the women that decided to you know, that were in that situation, right? There's men, so then you include the other percentage of women that just were taking drugs or were you know, just numbing their pain in any number of ways, right? This was not a happy situation for the majority of society.
And I think, you know, we also need to talk about the elements of race. Like if we just look in our country alone, like, you know, we had men who would work and then the women did the home life. And then white women historically were horrendous to people of color. Like the ease that white women used to have in the home was built off the backs of black men and women and people of color. because Lord knows back then they just, anybody that was not white, right?
Right.
And that ease was given to them by the torture of Black people, right? And I mean, there's books on how horrible white women were. Like, because they took out their pain from their husbands on Black people. And like, I wish I remembered the title of the book. There's books about how horrific white women would be because they're horrible people too. I don't want to pull off blame of them, but I do think it was a system of like, they oppress, and down the line. So there's like it's not like Black people and people of color had the ease ever. You know what I mean? There wasn't that time for them. And then eventually, thank God, we eradicate slavery. So then the pressure gets on women more, white women more, because they're not able to exploit to the same degree. So then they start to be more miserable, right? And then the husbands are making them miserable. And then women are, starting to want more rights and want more equality. And yet, even in that case, we have Susan B. Anthony. Her platform was built off of racism. She said, I deserve the right to vote because I deserve to vote over a Black man. She purposely would not let, I'm ranting now, but it's fine. She purposely did not let Black women into those meetings when this women's suffrage movement was going on. Like, she literally blocked them out. That's what that was built off of, right? So then that's oppressive. And then eventually, as women get more rights, what's happening there? So now it's not just Black women and Black men that are getting the pressure, but now white women are starting to say, we don't want that. We don't want to be oppressed either. And so then all that's trickling back up to white men. Okay. And now we have capitalism, which is absolutely slaughtering everybody. But white men that used to be able to put in a certain amount of work are now being crushed. So now they're more stressed. Now they're being paid less for the same amount of work. And now you have women who are like, no, dude, you don't take that shit out on me. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to let you abuse me in order to make yourself feel better. So now I feel like we're in an age where men are not like being called out for sexism, being called out for racism. Hopefully white women are also being held to a higher standard, although I know that's hard to do and less addressed. But you have all this pressure now for these cis white men that they've really not been facing before. They're being crushed by capitalism. Women are no longer allowing themselves to be the vessel of their abuse and their pain and their frustration. And now they're saying, well, this is really hard and I don't like it. It's like, well, nobody has liked it. Not ever has anybody who's been oppressed in this country by usually the hands of your demographic been happy. But now you want to bail.
Because that's how any system works too. Is you have this system propped up by straight white men, really, historically. And then all of a sudden, when that gets when there's too many straight white men, then all of a sudden you have the rich straight white men that end up getting the more power, and so and it gets even more consolidated because you don't want to ever have a system where too many people are comfortable, right? You have to find a way to keep on getting that power into smaller and smaller amounts of people, and so as a result, that's what like I said, you're seeing late stage capitalism right now, where they're feeling the brunt of this, where the system that they were enjoying isn't as comfortable anymore, so they're desperately trying to find ways to recreate a version of that system, and that's why you're seeing such huge movement right on their side right now of trying to take away the rights that have been given out to people because that's all they can grasp at, right? They realize, oh crap, I'm powerless in this system right now. I don't have as much power. I have power. There still are, systemic power regardless of your wealth that you have. But I have less power than I had before. And instead of trying to figure out a way to divvy up some of the power and take power from the top, because that's a much harder thing to do, they're like, okay, how do I steal back some of the rights from the people that I still have the power to subjugate over?
100%. That's it. 100%. Because they're in the position where they could give some up, but then because at this point, I think we're talking the main thing I think they could see in this would be the crushing effects of capitalism. So every group that has less privilege than them is like, hey, we want you to be better, and then we all can be better, and then we can go against capitalism. Or we can try to get a system that works better for everybody. And basically it's going against the elite, right? The people who have the millions upon millions and sometimes billions of dollars that, hey, by the way, just got the lowest tax cuts that, isn't it like ever? I heard it was.
I believe so.
Extremely low tax cut.
Because that's what this has always been about.
This group of people who now have less taxes than ever, right, are in power, and like instead of like taking the heat a little bit and growing and being better people and maybe losing whatever little perceived power they have to go against this system, they are turning the opposite way, looking at the people that they have oppressed and saying, actually, I want to oppress you more, because oppressing you more makes me feel like I have more, despite that not being true. But I need that perceived power rather than reflecting. And that's, I think, what is going on with these young men, whether they are aware of the full historical relevance of what we're saying, is, I don't think I want to work on myself. I'm feeling 1/1,000,000th of what people have felt in any, like all the other groups have been feeling, and it feels bad. So I'm going to opt out. And I'm going to take away your rights, like even the LGBTQIA plus community. I'm going to take those women. Obviously, we're going to be racist, just like getting that GoFundMe for almost $1 million for that woman who literally said the N-word to an autistic child. Okay, we want that. We're going to do that instead. And it is so horrifying to be living in this time and watching this happen.
And that's what Timmy Bounceback is signing off on.
I mean, he is though.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm making a joke, but that is absolutely what it is. That is in that little 20-second rant, that really does come down to how can I sum up everything that we're saying, right? In this whole breakdown of what goes into it. And that's the whole point, is that there's so many layers that go into this that lead to someone thinking what he was thinking, and where this hatred comes from, and where this idea, like, they need to believe that they have some sort of power. To your point, young people now, especially, and it's the first real generation of young men to enter into adulthood realizing that they aren't immediately placed at the tip top of the chain of power, right? That there are people above them, that in that way, and that's why you're seeing this retaliatory belief. And you have to hope that there's enough people doing enough, speaking out against it and educating, that we can fight against it. But it's what we are. It's the dumpster fire of the world. It's not just an American problem either.
When the main group of power, which is like white men, cis white men, are convincing, a lot of times white women, it's mostly white women if we're being honest,
right,
are convincing white women the real threat is this incredibly small percentage of people, like trans people. Let's get that one's a good one. This incredibly small percentage of people in the world, they're the problem. They're the threat, even though statistically your biggest threat as a woman is your romantic partner. Astronomically, that is who the biggest threat is. And you are much more likely to be harmed, essayed in a church. A child is much more likely to be essayed by someone in the church than any trans person. Like, it's not even, there's no comparison, right? Yeah. So you have to, why would they make you focus there? And like now with this bathroom situation, I just saw a case where there was two women, one, I think they're a couple, and she just looked too masculine, I guess. And it was like in a hotel bathroom, and a security guy busted in the door, started banging on the stall. She didn't even have her pants up yet. And the stall's getting ripped open, and demanding to see her ID because they said she was a man, which she was not. She's not trans. She is a she, and she, like, And they saw her ID and kicked her out anyways.
Yeah.
And because she didn't look woman enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, instead of an issue of this fake issue of people in bathrooms, like men in quote unquote biological men in bathrooms, what you do have is, yeah, men are going into bathrooms. Men are breaking into bathrooms and demanding to see women's IDs or whatever they want to prove that it's a woman. So any of the issues I've seen thus far have not been taking a trans person out of the bathroom, but have literally been biological men harassing biological women by busting into bathrooms when they're in states of undress. So who was the threat there? Like, we have to start paying attention to that.
And that's the point, though, right? Because it's exactly what we've been talking about. It's another way to control women, specifically, like for women that do not conform to this very control, to our episode last week, that don't dress the way that women are quote unquote supposed to, that don't act in this feminine nature that society has deemed that all women are supposed to adhere to, right? That ends up becoming just another onus of control to make sure that women are living in fear, right? To make sure that anyone, and then this goes obviously across this particular issue, but this is always what it comes down to. It's any new weapon to control people that are lower on the quote unquote societal hierarchy of structural power, right? And that's all that it comes down to. It never was about protecting women, but that's the fear that they use in order to give another way to actually control women.
Let us make you afraid of another group of people. So you think you need us. You need us to protect you from an imaginary threat we have created, so we can still continue to consolidate power and keep rights away from people.
That's my favorite. I say favorite in a horrific way. The argument they always make is like, well, what would you do without men? Who would protect you?
From who?
From who? That's the like from a. There wouldn't be any, like. I'm not saying no women commit violence, but statistically, when you're looking at acts of violence, if you were to, and this is, I don't want to get rid of men. I love being here. I have a son, right? I think men deserve to be here, right? The point is though, like that argument is such a wild thing. It's creating an issue and then justifying us being terrible to protect you from the issue that we've created. And that sums up like the current state of the world right now, if anything. That's a happy note to end our show on today, Regan.
Yeah, I know I went on a rant here, but it really bothers me when, just as a feminist person, it bothers me when we don't acknowledge white feminism, that when we don't acknowledge that white feminism exists, and how much, Black people and Black women have been oppressed by white women. As we do this whole battle, like, I think we need to acknowledge all areas of it, because just like we want men to change, if you're a white person, you need to change too. And you need to unpack your beliefs. And if you want to help all women, guess what? Anti-racism work is a huge part of that. That is just as important as anything else. And I just feel like that gets not acknowledged enough. So I appreciate everyone listening to my rant. I hope I didn't speak out of turn in any way.
I think hopefully anyone listening to us understands that feminism isn't feminism without intersectionality, right? You cannot fight systems of discrimination by picking and choosing the part of that system, like one small aspect of it, because the system's still going to be, the web of discrimination is still going to be there, and oppression is still going to exist, and once again seep back up if you don't have an intersectional approach to fighting against that system.
The people that suffer are the ones who have are the most oppressed, are the ones who suffer the consequences of people who have more rights, more power, more privilege, being like wishy-washy, and like we're seeing that with these white men who are like, I don't really like this.
Right. And then they are the ones that are expected to change it.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, no, it's not my job to change it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to change it. I don't like it, but Yeah, I think it's that bad, but they have pizza on this side. So I'm going to go there.
Yeah.
You know who's on the other side? Timmy, come back!
Oh, yeah. Timmy Bounceback.
Oh, there it is. Timmy Bounceback's on that side. I got to get that.
I got to get fucking back, baby.
We got to get back, baby! Hating on women, baby. It's like, that's always been back. That never has gone away, bro. Sorry. Hate to break it to you. All right, friends. Thank you so much for listening. We mentioned the Patreon inside jokes, but if you want to be in on that, please join our Patreon. We have a pre-show every single week, which is at this point literally a full episode. extra episode every week where we just say all kinds of shit. So make sure to check that out.
If you want insight into our personal life, like much deeper into our personal lives, that's what the Patreon's for.
If you want to know us too well, go there. Thank you again for listening, and we will see you next week. Bye.
I'm Chesko Bounceback, and I love you all.
Sick. Bye.
Bye.
I got some good advice for you.